My fellow Decepticons, we're here with a very special video. My original second-in-command, the first person to officially add a 7 at the end of their name. This is Lord Shockwave 7. We met when we were kids, and he has been retired for a little while, but is coming back to do this special Transformers animated retrospective. This is the show that was on the air the time that we started speaking. I'm going to let him speak a little bit about himself. I'm sorry that your ears will have to suffer his voice.
Yeah, I apologize in advance to anybody who has to suffer just experiencing me with their ears. Just count your blessings. You don't have to experience me with your eyes as well. But yeah,
your intro.
I was Scott's original best friend forever, and everybody else that came in was just a poser that filled my shoes while I was gone. I'm just kidding. Scott and I met when I was I think 11 years old, and he got me into Gears of War and then into Halo. I mean to say, we played Gears of War and we played Halo, and then he got me into Transformers. I originally was not the biggest fan of him, but eventually I learned that he, even at a young age, had a pretty authentic personality. Not that my young mind could really wrap my head around that, but we clicked pretty well. He got me into Transformers. I have ADD, so I get very, very into things, and he turned me at Transformers, and from that point on, I just wanted to be a walking encyclopedia, and having a friend like Scott also meant I just wanted to be around for whatever misadventures he would get me pulled into. And yeah, in respect to this video, animated is probably my favorite Transformers series from the ones I've seen, and it's also one of my favorite portrayals of Shockwave. It's not like he's at his most powerful, it's not like he's achieved the most in this version, but he's definitely one of the more developed characters in the series, and he played a really cool role.
And he had his purpose, like you said. He really did play a role in this.
He definitely contributed to one of my things that makes me like a cartoon, or love it rather than like it, is if there's continuity. And his arc in the series where he played the double agent role was one of the first things that I saw about the series that had me think oh cool, it isn't just random robot adventures every episode. There's actually an overarching story between Shockwave and Sumdac, the Elite Guard, and then Sumdac's storyline was also one of my favorites in the series.
And just for some context, everyone, we're going to be starting with all the things that we liked about Transformers Animated, and then we'll get into some of the controversy at the time, like what it felt like when Animated was announced, to how people were responding to it. People are currently responding negatively to Cyberverse, but upon watching the show, it's not as bad as one might initially think. So we're going to get right into talking about some of our favorite plot points. Obviously, Shockwave introducing how he got into it, and the parts of Transformers that he loves, such as Shockwave, Sumdac. All these things are contextual. So we're going to hop right into this. So let's talk about the opening. Do you remember when you saw the opening? I was mixed on it at first, but now when I hear it, it's kind of exciting.
It is really exciting. It's an extremely hype song, to just put it in the simplest terms possible. It's just exciting. I really like it. It gets the energy high for every episode.
And then additionally, you wanted to know what clowns they were going to fight next in season 1.
That was
the actual Decepticons.
Right, exactly. That was the thing that turned me off to it before I got into animated. Was the first season it's fun now that when you know ahead of time that there's going to be more, but it is very much just an episode to episode. Here are the Autobots that you love just fighting dudes. It really
and Rainbow Princesses. Remember?
Yes, exactly.
The Unicorn Girl.
I remember this series very much being compared to Teen Titans, a lot, and the first season is what very much solidifies that, where they're just a robot superhero team that transform versus what we were used to.
The war, fighting over Cybertron. And I like the aspect of where they brought it in as the Autobots as kind of civilians, with Optimus Prime being a washout and not just the stoic leader that we might know him as now, but somebody who had to learn. And part of that adventure, the learning adventure, which a lot of people would look at negatively, again, if they didn't know that they weren't going to be fighting clowns and guys dressed up as, what was that guy? I forget the name of the archer, but there was a guy.
Just the Robin Hood knockoff.
Yeah,
he showed up more than once in the series, didn't he?
Yes, and I hated how sometimes they were able to get the upper hand on the Autobots. Like, I don't like the Autobots as a big Decepticon fan myself. I realize their importance in a story, but amongst the Autobot teams, I don't think I've ever seen any of them get beat by a clown or by any of the other
not at all. Like, the only time the problem is in like series like G1 or just the series that old fans are used to. Anytime you saw an Autobot get his tail whooped by some like low-level jobber, it was always some side character. It would be like if like Cosmos got beat by somebody, or it's never like the main crew. But yeah, Burrito. God, but the problem was that the characters that you were watching get clowned on by jobbers in this series were mostly the ones that you always thought were the strongest or the most respected characters from the old series.
It becomes not a negative, like, knowing the context that, like, this is them learning to be a team, and half of their struggles and trials and tribulations are them realizing, like, we have to listen to Optimus Prime, or that sometimes it's okay not to listen to him, right? And, like, developing Earth as a home for them, right? This was how the Autobots integrated into human society, was
right. I much prefer the way that they did it in animated, like, more now as somebody looking back at it, because they started from a low point and then there was character development, versus from episode 1, these are the characters and here's how they're going to be.
And let's talk about the most important character in the whole show,
the one on the screen.
Yeah, Megatron.
Okay.
So my initial reaction to him blowing up in the first 30 minutes, I was mad. I was just like, this is dumb.
Yes.
Right. I'll never like this show. Right. And then his eventual revival, which even now when I rewatch the show, I can't wait for it, because it's one of my favorite fight scenes in all of Transformers, because it takes the Decepticons and immediately makes them a threat. It becomes a story of people fighting to survive. And it's not just a, Sam Witwicky screams the words Optimus and he kills 15 to 20 characters with
it was a whole season
no
of this crew, like, learning to work together and building up their leveling up, essentially, just for Megatron to come onto the scene. Game. Yeah, just for Megatron to come onto the scene and then dispatch them like zero effort. Also, just that moment where Megatron shoots out of the tower still gives me goosebumps, because it's like, immediately you can feel the power of Megatron, because he goes from a head to instantaneously blowing through the ceiling into the sky, and everyone looks at him. Force. Yeah, and the Autobots are just like crapping their pants looking into the sky, the speck.
And what I really liked was, upon his return, the joke, why doesn't Megatron just kill Starscream? And then he does. He just does. And Starscream can put that on the scene. Maybe he can put that on a loop a few times, since he's the editor. I'm sure he'll enjoy that. But Starscream was voiced by Tom Kenny, which a lot of people might know as SpongeBob SquarePants.
And the Ice King from Adventure Time.
Yes, yeah. That's more recent. Mm-hmm. But Tom Kenny did an amazing job. It was so much fun. And you can't help but hear SpongeBob crack through a few times. Yeah. So it's evil SpongeBob, plotting.
I'm a little upset they didn't squeeze the laugh in at least once.
Yeah. Just, we're not going to attempt to do the laugh. Don't try to do
Not at all.
Reroute all likes and subscribes to this YouTube channel.
But sir, what about the other YouTubers?
Any further objections? Ram this video straight into the minds of our viewers.